Welcome to Retirement Key Radio with Abe Abish.
Abe, are you a big history buff?
Somewhat. I would not say a big history buff.
But a little bit. Maybe quotes that famous people said. For instance, Benjamin Franklin, he famously said what?
There are two things certain in life, and those are death and taxes.
Sadly, yes, that is what he said, and it is so true. And he might want to add one more certainty to that, though. Fees. I mean, they're everywhere.
Man.
Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the mortgage lenders, are now going to charge a fee when you refinance your home. So they make you pay more money for the privilege of trying to save money. I mean, It doesn't make much sense to me, but fees in general always seem to hit us middle-class folks the hardest.
Yeah, you really have to watch out for fees, Kristen, especially in your retirement plans and accounts and portfolios, because they're like termites. And so many times clients will come in, they'll come in for a complimentary second opinion on what they're doing with, other big-time, big-box firms, and they'll come in because they're not 100% confident in what they've built, and almost all the time what they have is an investment plan and a growth and accumulation plan. That's fine, but what about an income plan? What about a plan to maximize Social Security? What about a plan for withdrawals and distributions in retirement? A plan for your RMDs? What about a tax plan? A plan to minimize and reduce taxes as much as possible? What about an estate and legacy plan? What about all these different types of plannings that should be discussed and implemented for anyone approaching full retirement and in retirement? And most of the times it's just kind of neglected. And a lot of firms say that they will plan for those things and help their clients plan for all those items. And most of the time they don't, which is why we have over 600 clients, which is why people attend our events and call into the show for a second opinion, because they know that's exactly what my advisor told me. That my advisor told me and the firm told me they might help me with all these things, and they're really not. They really just want my money, right? So then we take a look at the fees, and clients will come in, they'll bring in all their statements, and it reminds me of a brand new client that we just helped. She is 62 and lives in Fairfax, and she's working with a big time, big name, big box firm, and they have one of these deals with their portfolio management, in that when they charge fees, the more money you have invested with them, the lower the fee is going to be. But the first $500,000, let's say, is a certain fee, which is really high. Then the next $500,000 you have invested with them is another fee, and that's a lower fee. But when you look at what the average fee is on the amount of money you're investing with this company, you're looking at 1.6, 1.7%. When you take a look at what your net return is going to be, oftentimes it can be pretty low because of that.
I see.
And then when you start looking at exactly what people are invested in, let's say you're invested in the bond asset class and you've got 40% of your money in the bond asset class. Well, we know interest rates are low right now, and over the next 10 to 12 years, the returns and yield and interest on the bond asset class is probably going to be very low. At least this is what we're hearing from big name research firms like Morningstar and many others, that, hey, interest rates are super low right now. Do not expect much of a return or yield on bonds. 1 to 3% is kind of what we've been hearing. When big time firms like Guggenheim are saying, it's going to be a stretch for us as a huge firm to earn 3% on our whole portfolio, on our whole bond portfolio, as individual investors and retirement savers shouldn't expect much more than that. But then if you're paying 1.7% in fees, and you're earning 2 or 2.5 or 3,
that doesn't
is that
really,
advisor really earning their keep, right?
Not at all.
Your return is pretty much a wash, right?
Here's the thing. There's a cost for doing business, and I think we're all grown enough to accept that as long as we know what it is. It's transparent. But at the same time, I need to get a value for what I'm paying in fees.
Exactly right. So we do a lot of education, Kristen, and our mission as a company is financial education, and to educate our clients in such a way that they can make informed, sound financial decisions that are going to improve their retirement and give them the peace of mind and help them to create the retirement lifestyle of their dreams and that they want to, with as little as risk as possible. So our clients will join us on our webinars. They'll join us at classes at different colleges in the area and other events. And they'll come out and listen to certain topics that are being presented on, like, hey, how can we maximize Social Security? How can we create income in retirement? Or whatever the topic is. They'll come out and get a second opinion. We'll get to know everything about them financially and then help them to create and set up their plan. This is not our plan. Mm-hmm. This is not our money. Our clients didn't win the lottery. This is their hard-earned money, and they're telling us the type of plan that they want to set up, and then we try to do the best that we can to help them set it up. So this is a really good example of, a 62-year-old retiring in 3 years, working with a big name, big box firm, comes in to get a second opinion, and then we discover that, hey, this is not the plan that you really need or want 3 years before you fully retire. This is a plan appropriate for maybe someone 10 or 15 years younger than you. And oh, by the way, do you realize how much you're paying for this advice? And that's exactly where fees are like termites, Kristen. Like, do you realize that, hey, a good portion of your portfolio is barely keeping up with the fees that you're being charged by this firm?
And it's just eating away at your retirement. I like that. Fees are like termites. I don't mean I like that. I just say that's a good analogy of how to look at that, because once you have termites, forget about it. And that's why you protect yourself against that throughout the year. Have a termite bond. Well, that's very different than what we're talking about, but kind of similar. Again, it's about making sure that what you're paying in fees, because of course, it makes sense. There's a price of doing business. Is there a value? And are you moving forward with your retirement or just breaking even? Day or night, you can connect at retirementkeyradio.com. I saw a story in Forbes about a couple who set aside a special section of their nest egg for one purpose and one purpose only, to pay for all their traveling. Abe, I know that when you design a retirement income plan, you make sure that you have a conversation with people so that they can fund that bucket list experience for themselves.
Kristen, this is what retirement's all about. And if your financial professional advisor is not talking to you about how they can help you spend and enjoy your money without the fear of running out, you need to call somebody else who's going to help you to spend down your assets and enjoy them without the fear of running out of those monies.
Yeah, there has to be a balance there. Yes, I need to pay the bills and healthcare costs, all that's going to go up, but I should have some fun.
We have clients, I'll never forget the story. They haven't done this yet because they're just about to retire, but here's what this couple's going to do. They live in Leesburg. They're going to retire in a few years, and their dream is to buy a boat, fix it up, which the guy's in the middle of doing this right now. Buy a boat, fix it up, drive the boat up the East Coast, over into Canada, down the Mississippi River. You can go all the way down the middle of the country like that, and then out somewhere, I don't know, Panama City area or something.
The Gulfs or something like that.
Out somewhere there, and then around, and then they're going to sell the boat and be done with it. But that trip is going to take them well over a year to do.
A whole intercoastal waterway experience. I love it.
And this is their dream, and they've saved enough money to do it. And as long as you have saved enough money, and then you separate the monies that you've saved to serve different purposes, you too can do the same thing. Right?
Whatever's on your list.
Right. Whatever hobby it is or whatever you want to accomplish, and however you see yourself spending some of those dollars that you have in retirement, you should do that, and you shouldn't be afraid and scared to do so, because if your monies are in the right places and invested the right ways, you can do that, because some should be for long-term growth, some should be for income, paying the bills, and some should be for these extra hobbies and these extra trips and extra, spending amounts that you'll have every year, and some perhaps for long-term care, some for legacy and passing monies on to your kids and grandkids and churches and schools and whatever's important to you. But you can do that, and if your financial advisor and professional is not talking to you about how to successfully do that, then you really need to get a second opinion, because if they're just talking to you about growth, and hey, no, don't touch that money, don't touch it early, and don't do Roth conversions, don't pay your taxes now, don't take the money out, don't touch it.
I don't like all those no's.
Just write it out. The reason why I'm saying that, Kristen, is because any dollars you pull out that aren't being managed is less compensation to that advisor. So if they're just thinking about their pockets and not yours, and not how to help you create the retirement of your dreams, you need to move on.
Find out more at retirementkeyradio.com. Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Abraham Abish is licensed in your state, please call 571-577-9968. Abish Financial Services is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Abraham Abish, NBM number 7703575.